Greetings YouTube and welcome to a very different kind of video that I'm excited to put out on my channel. You see, I'm always trying to do different content, new content, fresh content, something that's outside the box. And so today I wanted to touch on, mostly thanks to both Wikipedia and Mr. Suave, S-W-V-A-U-E, I think that's how you spell it. He helped me kind of talk on the Line app. We went back and forth for a few weeks now about what champions we would like to see in Marvel Contest of Champions, and I'll do a couple of volumes of this in the next couple of weeks just to talk about hopefully some champs that are coming in the game. And of course, I only have time to cover certain champions, so if you have champions that I don't cover in this, feel free to comment below and tell me who and why you want them in, and maybe I'll add them to a future video and maybe even give you a shout out, because I always want to improve this game. I want to improve this community. One of the reasons why I was initially so disappointed in Venom the Duck, although in all fairness he looks like an amazing champion, is because I felt like we already had a Venom, we already had the Howard the Duck, and we needed someone like an anti-Venom to spice it up the gameplay. And so, purposefully, I feel like instead of getting a third or fourth skin of like an Iron Man or a Spider-Man, we should really be pushing for new original champions to make Marvel Contest of Champions even better. So today is the first video that I wanted to talk about, specifically just new champions I'd love to see in the game. And the first one I want to talk about is the one on screen right here, Mysterio. He was actually my favorite Spider-Man villain. He kind of reminded me of a little bit like the Riddler of Batman, and then like Shang Tsung, right? Shang Tsung of Mortal Kombat, because he could sometimes be so intelligent that he could trick Spider-Man, but of course he could also change into different people because he could just kind of morph into their likeness. And one of the sad things about the fact that Sam Raimi wasn't able to complete a fourth Spider-Man movie was that there was actually an actor that had played different roles in the first three original Spider-Man films of the early 2000s, and he was going to come back in the fourth and be Mysterio, and it was going to be kind of like the run-on joke was going to be revealed to him pretending to be different people. So Mysterio, super powerful, super smart, super high-tech. I think this champion would look amazing in Marvel Contest of Champions. And yeah, he's, as it says, he's the name of several fictional characters, supervillains. First and most high-profile incarnation Mysterio is Quentin Beck, although several other characters have since used the Mysterio alias. So, hopefully you are like me and you would love to see Mysterio. Now, sticking with Spidey villains, since Spider-Man is actually who I'm most familiar with in the Marvel Universe, I would love to see Dr. Kurt Connors, otherwise known as the Lizard. Now, I don't think the Lizard has really gotten his on-screen due yet. Yes, he was in the first Amazing Spider-Man, the sequel to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, played by Andrew Garfield, but I don't think the Lizard ever really looked, at least to me, like he should. I think this champion could be like a much, 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 much better version of Colossus, where you have this really, really strong exterior and the ability to just strike. Look at that tail. I mean, that thing's huge. You could fill half the Marvel Contest of Champions screen with that tail by itself. But yeah, so Mysterio and the Lizard are two champions that come to mind that I'm really excited to maybe in 2019, who knows? We've got Spider-Man Homecoming and not Spider-Man Homecoming, excuse me, Spider-Man Far From Home. We just had Spider-Man Homecoming. And Spider-Man Far From Home, I believe, is going to feature Mysterio. And so hopefully him and maybe even the Lizard will be 2019 champions. Now, besides these two, I want to bring up probably the most highly requested champion. I always get asked in live streams, Prof, who would you love to see come in the game? It's a great question. It's a common question. And the Silver Surfer is just someone. The Silver Surfer, and this is for a different video, but Silver Surfer and Squirrel Girl are like the comments I always see. And the entire Fantastic Four universe in general is really in need of being involved. So this is the first champion we're going to talk about from the Fantastic Four universe. Silver Surfer looks super cool. Looks very similar to Iceman. Like, you would think that it wouldn't take too much for the developers to create this champion. It's like a mix between Iceman and what I used to see as some incarnations of Sub-Zero. Again, it's a Mortal Kombat reference for those of you who ever played some version of Mortal Kombat, although I'm pretty sure there's still new versions coming out of that. It's not like it's just a classic Super Nintendo game, although I used to play that in like the Pizza Hut arcades back in the day as a kid. Shout out to probably 4 people in my audience who understand what that was like. But yeah, Silver Surfer would be amazing. Super cool, super sleek. One of the best Fantastic Four champions in the whole Fantastic Four lore. And Lord knows we still need a really, really good Fantastic Four Marvel movie now that Marvel has the rights from 20th Century Fox. I am cautiously optimistic that we will someday get one. All right, next, Whiplash. Now this champion you might recognize because he was the supervillain of the sort of popular in terms of making money, but not popular in terms of like nostalgia, Iron Man 2, the sequel to the first Iron Man movie that really kick-started the full MCU. Yes, technically it was not the first Marvel movie. That was the Edward Norton version of the Hulk. But Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, right? We all know the Marvel Universe really took off in popularity when Iron Man 1 came out. Whiplash could be super cool. He also really, really looks very much like Omega Red, right? So you've got the whips. You've got a very similar core as Iron Man to give him power in his chest. And I think this could be a super fun champion that really could make MCOC even better and would be a great attacker and maybe even a great defender. Who knows? So yeah, Whiplash, champion we could definitely use in the game. Next, we have Galactus. Now you can see Galactus is almost like holding Silver Surfer in his hands. He is a fictional character appearing in the American comic books. Formerly a mortal man, Galactus is a cosmic entity who originally consumed planets to sustain his life force. So, this is a champion that is huge, like at least Sentinel level. And we've seen the champion, right, this month. We've seen really big champions like Sentinel, so why not have a champion like this? You could even make an argument that Dormammu should be much, much bigger than he is size-wise when you consider how much bigger he was than Doctor Strange in the Doctor Strange movie. So yes, another champion that'd be really cool to add probably in 2019 at the earliest in Marvel Contest of Champions. Next, let's just talk about all of them, right? Because this is going to be kind of how I end Volume 1 of this series, this new series. The Fantastic Four really are some of the most beloved characters. Now, people who are older than me, I am now 30 years old, if you can believe that. Some people think I'm older. Some people think I'm younger. Some people think I'm 30. I don't know. But in general, in like the 80s, I want to say, and even like in the 90s, the Fantastic Four were really, really popular. And that's one of the reasons why they're one of the first comic book franchises in the 2000s to get their own movie. But that one was bad, and then, of course, the next one was worse. From Johnny Storm to, I mean, everybody it could be amazing. And I want to know, like, if you could only have one of the Fantastic Four, who would you like to see first? I'm guessing it would probably be Johnny Storm. But in general, I was a huge fan of the Fantastic Four because they did a crossover in Spider-Man the Animated Series when Spider-Man was ending his run in that series, and I also remember them from video games. So I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four fan just because I love Spider-Man more, but there are some people who are seriously obsessed with the Fantastic Four and would love nothing more than for them to be in the game. So as a recap, the Fantastic Four, love to see them in 2019. We've been waiting such a long time. And yes, for those of you who are like, where's someone like Doctor Doom, right? We'll get to that champion in the next volume of the series. But yes, the Fantastic Four, Galactus, kind of a random champion that we can talk about. Whiplash, someone that should be a lot more fun to play than he was to watch on the big screen in Iron Man 2. Silver Surfer, really somebody that I think, if you could imagine the 5-star Silver Surfer arena, even if he sucks for some reason as a champion, people would still go crazy to own him. I feel like he'd be like the ultimate trophy champion for so many people. So Silver Surfer. Then we've got Dr. Kirk Connors, the Lizard, someone that should be really, really strong and hard to kill because of his large exterior, kind of like Colossus, but hopefully a much better version. And with that being said, Colossus also desperately deserves a buff. And last but certainly not least, personally somebody that I really, really hope follows the Spider-Man Far From Home arc when it comes out, Mysterio. Gosh, so much fun. The animators, and Kabam has some incredible animators. The best thing I can say about the company is that every month the champions look better and better. The animations look crisper. There's so much detail to them. You can tell how much money and time they spend on new champions, and they should be applauded for that every day, really. So, yeah, Mysterio would be amazing. So that is Volume 1. I could talk for hours about this, but I don't want to make videos much longer than 10 minutes, and we've reached the 10-minute mark. So I'm going to wrap this up and just save everything else for Volume 2. What champions did I not cover that you would like to see in Volume 2, Volume 3, and so on? Let me know, and maybe I'll give you that shout out. And thank you again to Mr. Suave for helping make this video possible.